Good day, everyone. Welcome back to WTF Walk the Floors. I'm Stephanie Ledger and joined with my co-host, Michèle Kline.
Hi, everyone. It's good to have you on the other side once again. We have a special guest with us today and a very special topic. So we all know how many times anyone who's in the industry has experienced this. How many times our guests will tell us things so that they can get an upgrade, or they can get a special seat at a table in the restaurant, or you name it. The stories are out there. Everyone has one, but we have someone special here today who will share his story with us. So Stephanie, take it away and introduce us to our special guest.
Yes, so we do have here Lonny Wolfe visiting us to give us his WTF story with those guests that are trying to finagle their way for some extra TLC. So hi, Lonny, welcome.
Ladies, thank you for having me. You both look great and you're doing a great job on your WTF.
Thank you. So how about you give us a little bit of background of your journey in the hospitality industry?
My journey is young. It's now coming up to 8 years. I was never in hospitality until 8 years ago, but I owned a cleaning company in Canada. And I took a property in the state of Florida out of construction to be in the top 61 out of over 3,200 hotels on guest satisfaction reviews at 93.5%. As you ladies know, and people know in the industry, we are in the business of creating moments and earning memories, and we also play Dr. Phil 24/7, 365. Each guest is different from the next, and the stories along the way are, I always think something's going to never exceed what I've just learned or saw in the environment, and something always tops it off. Let me give you an example of an interesting story of not a guest wanting something extra, but coming to the office early in the AM. Here's a funny story. So it's at 8 o'clock, prior to a guest arrival, we would have contact with you days prior to you coming in and provide for you an access code if you're coming in after hours. So I provided this guest an access code after hours. About 8:30 in the morning the following day, the guest comes to the office, says, love the suite, thank you so much. Can you tell me where the hair dryer is? Under my breath, I want to say it's in the fridge, but it's inside of me. And I'm like, it's under the sink in the bathroom. Would you like me to come upstairs and show you? I wasn't expecting her to say yes, but she did. And of course, you've got to do whatever it is to please the guest. Always. I proceed to go up to the suite. And before I enter the suite, the lady says, let me make sure Richard is dressed. We just got engaged. She opens the door. He's dressed. He's reading the paper. I go in, we don't have eye contact because he's reading the newspaper. Voila, I show her the hair dryers exactly where I told her. As I'm leaving the unit, I look at the gentleman and I congratulate him and I put out my hand on the engagement. I'm very happy for them both. He had no idea, looked at me like I had three heads, and the exact words were, hell no, I'm not engaged. She ran out of the apartment, the unit, and started crying. I'm outside, I leave the unit, and I'm tapping her on the shoulder, playing Dr. Phil, trying to calm her down, etc., etc. After about 20 minutes of talking with her, the gentleman came out, and I excused myself, and that was the end of it. Here's another funny one with that same story. Hours later, they came and asked for beach chairs to the beach, but they asked not only for the beach chairs, but they said they're going to try to have a good day. They used the word try. So two things happened when they left the hotel. He got her a ring and they got engaged, or he went the other way.
Okay.
But, in this industry, there's one story after another. I mean, back to what Stephanie said, where a guest really wants something for free, I never sell a room without it being inspected, from the pillows to under the beds to the coils to the AC, whatever it takes. The room has to be, in my world, 99% perfect. So when the guest came to the office and said, there's blood stains on the pillow, uh-oh, they're looking for something, which immediately knew was happening because they wanted to know if they could go to an upgraded 2-bedroom because were not happy with the blood stains. Well, every room is inspected, not only by yours truly, but by my team, and there's no way there was blood there. But I knew how to deal with the guest. You always have to listen to the guest, explain to the guest, and work with the guest. And of course, you get them to laugh. And they stayed where they were. And by the way, they had a lot of alcohol on their breath as well when they checked in and when they were in the room. And then after they came to the room, and I did notice he had a bleeding nose.
Oh.
Oh, but that all goes with, when our guests are just spreading all those lies of, trying to think that we were born yesterday and not going to be able to say something or do research on figuring it out more on, even if the guest is saying that it is their birthday or anniversary or they just got engaged to get all those amenities, and then we say something and then the other person is like, wait, what are you talking about? And then the truth comes out that they're just trying to see what they could get, or wishful thinking, in your case, Lonny, as well, for the lady, thinking that she was going to be able to get engaged and it was coming on this vacation that they were on.
I do hope that she did get engaged when she went home and he realized she was a nice lady and maybe she was just trying to, she said what she said, but everyone has a different story. And in the hotel business, it's about storytelling, not about what my story is, about what your story is and what we're going to create.
Yeah.
It's all about storytelling and creating a moment and earning a memory. And there's so many, as there's so many different stories and memories from guests 24/7, 365 that at the end of the day, we could all write a book on this topic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Michèle, what do you have to say about those guests?
I think it's a very funny story, epic story. Like I said before, we all have those. I can recall a situation at one resort where we had kind of like a play area for the kids outside of the pool. And there was this slide. There's this big slide that you have to be a certain age in order to be on that side, right? And I recall having a supervisor from the deck come over with this, how do we deal with this situation? And the situation was, there was this little kid who was apparently 6 years old, but had to be 8 in order to be in that area. So older brother is like, you just need to say that you're 8 years old and you're good to go, right? So the kid gets there, and the team member who was in the post is like, okay, how old are you? Because, he kind of picked up on it. He's like, 6. Brother, knocks him on the side of his ribs and says, gives him the face like, you're not 6, you're 8, you're 8. So that was a big issue. We obviously somewhat ruined their day, but it was good that the team members were on point when it had to do with the safety of their guests. But, it happens all the time. Or when guests share very specific stories so that, they do get that suite. And next thing you know, it's like, yeah, you're just married, but you're not even married to each other, those kind of situations.
Absolutely.
What about your study?
Or when they're hiding their pets so they don't have to pay the pet fee.
Absolutely. Or going to the pet is when a guest says it's an ADA pet, and you can't ask them to prove that. You have to take their word for it.
Yeah.
And the
pet is pooping on the carpet.
Yeah.
Literally. And you're like, if this pet was an ADA pet, it would be trained. There is absolutely no way that this dog will be pooping on the carpet. We had a gaming floor in one of the Vegas properties where we had that over and over and over. And I would get into fights with security, the director of security, saying, look, this can't be happening. Well, but we can't ask. I'm like, there is no way these dogs are trained.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's a fine line topic when it comes to pets. I've had a guest call me up and say, I know you're pet friendly, but we're coming with our pig.
Oh.
And I'm like, can you repeat that again? I'm coming with our pig. I said, well, we're pet friendly, and it says pet friendly, but you'll see in brackets, dogs and dogs only. Can I bring my bird or cat? I go, dogs only. And it becomes a debate. At the end of the day, my goal is to make that guest on the other end of the phone want to come and smile and laugh during our conversation. But guests will try anything to bring what they shouldn't be bringing to the property. Or they sneak the pet in, and when they're leaving, you see them carrying the pet out in a little tiny carry-on suitcase.
I've had a ferret before, but I've never had a pig.
Yeah.
The pig never came, but I did have a guest with cats, and cats do nasty things inside a unit, especially if they start. And it's a whole problem going forward to getting rid of the pungency that the cat can do.
Yeah, yeah. And even us, you know, when you are a pet-friendly property, you know, there are protocols that are in place. You have designated rooms because someone,
Correct.
you don't want the next guest that does have an allergy. Now, all of a sudden, we have bigger situations, and the guests don't realize that we have policies in place for a reason, for their own safety or for the safety of the other guests. As well, but you know, they're totally oblivious and don't say anything and thinking that they're trying to pull a fast one on us, and then it just caused more of havoc for us and WTF moments of being like, great, when are you checking out?
Exactly. You use the word policy, and properties need to adhere to those policies due to liabilities, like you said, allergies. If you came to the property and you did have a pet and it was a dog, and you paid the pet fee and you left the property, doesn't matter if you're there 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, the first order of business is to remove the filter in the AC unit and put a brand new filter because of what's going through the system immediately. The pet fee isn't just, hey, I'm making money. You've got to clean that room according to what size animal, and if it was it shed or it didn't shed. There's a whole thing that I'll do when it comes to pets, and the first order of business is change the filter immediately. And I've never had a guest complain about allergies, because that's big for me.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Or when they're bringing their pet then to the restaurant, and then being like, oh, here, you can use the guest plate to be able to dine at the restaurant as well. And then the other guests see it and they come to you, and you are the one now that ruined their vacation for what the other guests are doing.
Or have to explain the temperature that those dishes go through in the process of cleaning.
Yes.
Correct. And if there are restaurants that love to have people that bring their pets, you've got to have pet bowls, pet plates for pets only, so guests don't get to see that, because visibility of what guests see is very important. It could, like Stephanie just said, it can distract the moment that why they're there, that, oh, we got to leave, maybe a pet was at our plate.
Yeah. And even for the pet bowls, to having them go through their cleanliness protocols as well. There's a lot of times that the server may just go and dump the bowl and then reuse it for the next dog that, maybe it's the water bowl, and not realizing that, it needs to go through proper care as well. So then, the dogs aren't passing germs just like us humans.
100%.
Yeah.
And that comes from training the staff when it comes to people bringing pets, because the one word that wasn't used from what you just said is cross-contamination.
Yeah.
And that's a no-no.
Stephanie, share with us a story that you can think of where either guests or perhaps team members were caught in a lie.
Well, I definitely would say a common one that would always happen at the front desk when they weren't getting their way, even though they would try every excuse or celebration lie, and then saying that they are friends with the owner, or even if that owner has a very popular name that's known worldwide, and then being able to say, oh yeah, and then saying that they, went to school with the family member of the family member who's now the second cousin. And those are the times when I'm just like, here you go. Here's my business card. tell them I say hi. But these guests think that's like all of a sudden we're going to then change our policies or the way that we're going to handle the situation. And it's like, look, that you're not the first one that tried it, but good try. And then just being like, this is the way that we're doing our policies and procedures. But that one always was my favorite, when they would come to the front desk and start throwing around big names. And nowadays too, with like LinkedIn or on TripAdvisor, if the management is responding back to guest complaints, like say on TripAdvisor, it has either their name or department, and so it's very out there. Or even on LinkedIn, saying, you know, who the general manager is of the property, and then they just try to saying, oh yeah, I know so and so, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, let me get them. And then they come and look through the camera of the front desk, seeing, oh, who is that? And being like, yeah, can't wait to deal with this one.
It truly is amazing what people will try to do and say to get something, and it is so unethical to do it. And you'll see, I think, let's see what your comment is on this. You may see more of that at a property that has a lower average daily rate than a higher average daily rate.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
Because on the 70%, 76% of travelers will pay more if you have 5-star reviews. They will always pay more. And if you're over the top on your satisfaction and your NPS scores, everything, they will always pay more. You mean the goal in the business is to get those awards, which get you the bragging rights, to get you a great average daily rate. You know, we're in the business of creating a moment and earning a memory. And the higher the rate, the less of that aggravation you get. Like there's a property not far from where I live here on the coast. It's probably 28% on excellent guest satisfaction reviews. And his rates are between $59 and $79 a night. And the crowd that he gets is unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Terrible crowd.
Yeah. And we see it too. You know, you could be also to a 5-star luxury property, but then you're going to have an off season when your rates are lower than what they are in the height of season, and training your staff as well of knowing what lies guests will be trying to come in and saying when you're noticing a different rate that you're charging, or even weekend versus weekday.
Correct.
Also,
you hit it right there when you said training and communication with your team, and open communication daily in all your departments is key, always, to include knowing everything about the area, the property, the surrounding area. And for example, in the state of Florida, as you know, Stephanie, who Henry Flagler is, if I was to go to a hotel and ask 20% of the staff in the hotel, or most of the staff, ask them if they knew who Henry Flagler was, they would have no idea.
No.
But I'll tell them who it is, you know, because that's why hotels are the way they are in the state of Florida, because he started building in the 1800s in St. Augustine.
Yes.
So you said it right. Training and communication is so key. There's too many dinosaurs still in the business that don't get it.
No. Michèle, how about you? What's your story?
I told my story already of the little boys that were trying to pull a fast one on our lifeguard.
Here's a funny one where a gentleman would come to the property, and he always pulled up and he said, my wife's in the car, and you know, he never asked for something or wanted something, but the lie was this. Next time he came to the property, which was often, the wife was always in the car, but it was always a different woman. So it was never his wife.
A different wife.
Yeah.
Correct. So he was married. He did tell me, remember, he did tell me this, but do I know if it's true because he's wearing a wedding ring? No. And I'm not going to start getting into his dirty laundry. I know what he was up to, but he continued to say my wife, but he didn't realize that I could see a different person each time that he came to the property, which was weekly.
Yeah.
But never asked for something.
At the end of the day, Lonny, you were still there to create a memorable experience. So
100%, because, you know, as I always say to my wife, going to a hotel is like opening a birthday gift. As soon as you arrive, you should be wowed from beginning to end and afterwards. 365.
Unless you get a vacuum cleaner.
Well, you know, it's funny. You say vacuum cleaner. I've always said, you know, honey, you look good behind the vacuum cleaner because I'm the one that's very fussy and does all the cleaning. So she says, I'm not pushing the Hoover. You do a better job than I do. And unfortunately, I do.
Well, Lonny, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us today, your insights, your training tips. This was really a memorable experience.
Ladies, it's always memorable. It's great to see you too. And your shows, your WTF show is great. I watch every episode and I congratulate you both on doing it weekly.
Thank you. Thank you. And Lonny, where can the viewers, if they want to follow you, where can they be able to contact you?
I'm easy to find. Lonny Wolfe at theartofhousekeeping.net, or just follow me on LinkedIn. I'm a big follower on LinkedIn and I post on LinkedIn and I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thank you,
Very
Lonny.
easy to find. Ladies, have a great day and thank you for having me.
Thank you as well.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.